All right, everybody. I think I got my mic set up. All right. Hello, everybody, guys and gals out there. I guess if you're tuning in, this is episode number 3 of what we're going to call, or what's called the Unconventional Conservative podcast. And I guess third day, we're going to keep rolling with it. There's been several things go on, and we're going to keep catching up, keep going with some certain topics, and then we're going to cover other topics. But if you could, just do all the things you know you're supposed to do. Go and like, subscribe, turn on all the notifications, hit the little bell up in the corner, whichever corner it may be. Hit the little bell. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things you're going to do so we can get this show in the algorithms and really get her up there and get her going. But other than that, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. But I guess what really I want to start on is we've had so many things go on here recently, here in the past few years, here in the last decade, here in the last 3 or 4 decades. We've had things going on that I think could honestly, as a bigger picture, if you would really look at the broader spectrum, you would honestly see a lot of the pieces being put together. And everything I say in today's video, there may be facts behind it, but it is nothing that I have really researched myself. This is all from different videos, articles, sources that I've read, watched over the years. Just different things that you kind of gather info here and there, and really started trying to put pieces together. And I really feel like since really COVID, the pandemic, that people's eyes have really started being open to the possibilities of our government, or not really our government, the deep state, unelected, deep government that we don't see is a lot more corrupt than what they've let on for so many years. And sometimes it's the boy who cries wolf sometimes ends up being the wolf. You know what I mean? You're crying wolf on yourself. But like I said, none of these are really fact-based. They're fact-based, but from different sources, different outlets, different things like that. So obviously take everything with a grain of salt. Nothing that I say is the gospel. But I do think that you can learn a lot by just observing history, observing trends, observing patterns, observing different things to where you can see a lot. And especially like with the whole Israel-Iran thing going on, it's something that's been going on for centuries. It's not anything new. It's popped up again in our culture, in our day and age, but it's nothing new. It's been going on since the old covenant was first made. People have been after that covenant, trying to break that covenant. And no, it's not just people. It's an evil entity, because we live, whether you see it in that way or not, we live in a world that is just, it's good and it's evil. It's good and it's evil. And it's good and it's evil. And if we don't start seeing the world in that lens, we're going to miss a whole lot. And if you don't go into it with an open mind and an open lens of what we've been told, what has been pushed down our throats, what has been in our history books, is not always exactly what happened. But regardless of the details, we live in an evil world. We live in an evil world, and it is not looking out for your best. It is not trying to make you a better person. It is out to destroy you. And even in the Bible, Satan is here to steal, kill, and destroy, and to conquer or divide and conquer. So all of these things that we see that are going on in our world is literally that. So yes, there's bombs being shot, missiles being shot down, this and that, fights going on between different countries, but it's all a good and evil spiritual thing. So you have the old covenant, which was God with the Israelites, like sets them free from the power of Egypt or from Pharaoh. And even when they were set free, they wanted to go back. They thought that was a better place, when they knew it wasn't. They knew it wasn't. But here they go. As humans, we try to go back and start eating at the sore that's trying to heal. We go and knock the scab off of it and try to go back to it. And it's never going to change. We're always going to be the same. Humans will always continually fail, because for this lifetime here on earth, we're going to be in a battle every single day, every single moment of our lives with this good and evil. And this good and evil, or the evil part of it, I think to me, it's like we have all these technologies and stuff that have been developed, invented, all these different things that can be used for good. But when you leave these technologies to human hands, we eventually, just like everything else, we find a way to corrupt it every single time. So if you find, because us as humans, we're connected to both. That's why it's a battle. We're connected to good because we're created by good. But then because of the garden and us as being human, we aren't God. We also have evil a part of us. So it's a constant battle of good and evil, life versus death. And also Satan has figured out that with internet and social media and all these technologies that have been developed and invented, he can get his message across just as fast as we're supposed to get the good message across. And we're living in a world where his message is getting across and in the minds of people a whole lot faster than what us as Christians are supposed to be doing, to share the good news and sharing the gospel and conquering evil with good. And yes, since we are human, we're going to fail, but no different than when people make excuses for within the church. People find excuses, like if they're charged with some kind of sexual whatever, being a pedophile. We'll just put that in there. That's the category. And people are like, oh my God, or like they're supposed to be different. And then the excuse people use, or if I don't go to church because everybody there is a hypocrite. And people, their excuse for that is, well, we're all human. We're all human, so we're all hypocrites. And it's really like, no, we should be different. We should be different. We shouldn't be the hypocrites. We should be transparent. We should be honest. We should love like no other. But yet we haven't. And just like the other two episodes, I'll harp on this every probably episode, is the fact that we have lost our backbone. We've been spineless. We've let things just go. We've become passive. We have lost our voice, because it's if you're assertive or if you stand up, then the excuse that's brought to you is, well, that's not what Jesus would do. Jesus wouldn't do that. Jesus wouldn't be loud and in the middle of the streets fighting against the mob or whatever. And it's like, yeah, he would. That's exactly what he would do. And so we've let the secular world control, even though since they're in the secular world, they really shouldn't know more than we should, because that's how we live our life. But we've let the secular world control how we're supposed to act and do things and what is actually right in the name of Jesus, when it's just there to shut us up. It's Satan trying to shut us up. And no different than the whole Israel-Iran thing. More than ever, we have got to speak up. These are people. These are humans. And no matter what, I don't care where you fall on the spectrum, there's good and bad on each side. But when you have a known evil, you can't just let them hold more evil. You can't let them hold more power. And so with the whole debacle going on of, well, God doesn't actually mean Israel, the people, it's like, how do we not know that? Is yes, there's a new covenant that has been put in place for all of us. We are all Israel. But why does that mean the old covenant just is wiped away? And if you can point me somewhere in the Bible that it does say that, then I will 100% stand corrected. But if God is forever and the old covenant is a representation of the new covenant, and he will protect and defend Israel and he will do all these things, then why would that old covenant go away? Because wouldn't it, as the new covenant, wouldn't eventually over time throughout history, people would know that covenant would eventually probably end, just like the first one did. But we are all Israel, so we are all protected and defended by God underneath the new covenant because he sent his only son, Jesus. The only person who could have ever fought and battled with Satan for that long and still remained a spotless lamb, could he then take on that death that we all should have had? But evil is there. Evil was there the whole time. Satan was there the whole time. So even though we have a new covenant in place, why isn't the original Israelites, the original people of Jesus, why wouldn't their covenant still stand? So then it's an example for our covenant, our new day covenant, that it will still stand. So if Satan is here who was once an angel, and we don't know how long he was with God before he was cast down, how much his pride got in the way before he was cast down. But he was loved by God. He was smart. He had power. And then when he was sent away from God and sent down to earth to roam in and out of earth, Satan is he's a physical being. Yeah, we can't see him. He's a spiritual physical being. I don't even know how to explain that. He is a thing. And so he has to physically roam in and out. And who's to say, like, I know this is real far-fetched, but like, who's to say that his gateway into hell, or where he's going in and out of the earth from, maybe he set it up in the Middle East. And maybe that's why there's always so many wars, so many battles. There's never peace. Maybe that's why. Maybe we can't see it, but maybe he's physically going in and out of the earth right there in the Middle East, because Jesus was from the Middle East. He was from over there. He wasn't from North America. And so why wouldn't he set it up close enough to Jesus's people, so maybe that could sway the people closer to him on his side? So the reason there's never been peace and there's always been a battle and an uproar is the fact that Satan is 100% attacking that area more. We don't know that, because I'm not the one that's saying, you know what, God doesn't actually mean still the Jews. He doesn't actually mean, like, look at them, they're arrogant, they're prideful, and all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, that's not an excuse. But at the same time, can you blame a group of people who have been told for centuries in, centuries out that they are God's chosen people? They are this, they are that. When they are connected to our fallen flesh, why wouldn't Satan use that and turn it into an arrogance, to a pride, to a this, to a that? Because if you can keep it there, you're closer to a fall than if you remained humble. And with Satan being a physical entity, a spiritual physical entity, whatever you want to call it, I know that's not the right term at all, but bear with me. But why would the old covenant go away? Why, so Satan could know, and then he could use that as a way to twist and manipulate over time to the Jews, the Israelites, whatever, they know they have a special place or whatever at one time. They had an original covenant with God. But why would that go away just because now we're all included in that? Those people still have a covenant, but now we all have a covenant that we can ask Jesus to personally live in our life and consume our entire being and change our heart. And then we are now Israel. You are Israel. Now you will be protected and defended just like the original old covenant. The old Israelites, when they were released and set free from Pharaoh, from the 400 years of captivity. So he knows what to use and what to manipulate, and know, because he uses it over time, because he can't physically he's not omnipresent, omnipotent, just like God is. He can only be certain places at certain times, but he also does have little worker bees for him all the time, and that goes around and checks in on him, and he checks in on little things, the little places he's put himself in. But he's also learned, or I think he's also perfected the system, and no, he can't be everywhere at all times, but if he can get something in your mind and convince you and just let that little seed just sit in your brain, it could be for years. It could be since you were a little kid and you're an adult now, and that little voice, that little tick in your head has just been sitting there and grown and grown and grown to, at some point, it has consumed your every being. It has changed your physical being. It has changed who you are as a person. Satan he's got all the time in the world. I don't know what all he knows. He may know when God's coming back. I don't know. But he obviously knows more than I do, because he did it to me. And now I'm out of the darkness and into his marvelous light. I can see that now. I can see Satan's hand in different years and different points in my life, to where it manipulated and controlled my very being and my very thought pattern. And up until probably the last couple of years, was it like that? And the Lord completely healed me from all of those. And we still battle things. We still have sin. We still have failures. We still have shortcomings. But he healed me from those things that Satan had used for so long to keep me quiet. And I know that because I would have never made these videos. I would have never made these videos. But for some reason, there's been different things, and I can see different events that happened all throughout the years in my life, that I could see that the Lord was trying to use as a platform, as a way for me to get my voice out there. But I think I had to fall so many times, and if it would have happened 10 years ago, I would have completely, who's to say I would be here physically? Because just like the 27 Club, if I would have ever became a famous rock star, I would have been dead by 27, because the world would have absolutely consumed me at a young age. But now I'm coming into it in a place where the Lord has made me completely secure and confident in Him and who I am, that I feel like that platform now has to be shared. And so, to go with the evil versus good and Satan, he has power. He can use that power, and he will use it for years. He's not in a hurry. He's not in a hurry at all. And so he's going to take his time. So no different than with a group of people or this or that. It's kind of honestly along the lines of, like, you look at our country or the United States or just different places or different things. It's so different than, like, take 9/11. something we've all lived through, we've all experienced, we've all heard about it. But take those events that happened, and if you look at the broader picture, it doesn't look as pretty and as victim as it was made to seem for so long. Through different sources and all these different things, there's now things coming out of, like, no different of when you saw the Twin Towers fall. If those Twin Towers would have fell just like how they were, like if it was a natural hit, the entire city would have been gone. Like, there would have been nothing left for miles on end if those towers would have fell over like they were supposed to. And if those planes would have hit any lower, and it would have made the top half of the building fall off the bottom half of the building. There's so many things that could have happened, but yet those planes perfectly hit at the right spot, right in the corner, doing what it's supposed to do. And then when they fell in on themselves. Like, come on. They've even had people like who do controlled demolitions even watch the video and say that was a controlled demolition. And then that's during a time which led us into Iraq, Afghanistan, and all these places for no reason. That was our excuse to go in there, because we supposedly had weapons of mass destruction, and there was never a single weapon found, but that led us into the next 20-year war. But then also you find out that the person who was running the show, the same thing happened years prior, basically. Obviously 9/11 didn't happen. Years prior, their dad was in office. Their dad never finished the job. You had, like my husband, for instance, his dad was in Desert Storm, was in Kuwait. And during that time, you saw pictures of like these massive black smoke clouds, just explosions happening everywhere. And it was an oil-based thing. It's always about oil. It's always about oil. But then that happened in the 80s, and we went straight into right at the border of Iraq, and then we just hands off. No, not any further. Not any further. That happens. Fast forward however many years it is, and that person's son proceeds to carry us into another 20-year war that there was no accomplishment from it. Like, no accomplishment. What you had, Bin Laden, I think, is who they supposedly took out, but yet they respected his religious beliefs and dumped him out at sea. Like, come on. Come on. And then the morning that the attack happened, you had Bush reading to a group of students, young kids. He gets told it's happened, and it's the most unemotional reaction to your country just being like a terrorist attack on your soil that you were overseeing at this point in time. And your excuse was, well, you didn't want to show your emotions in front of the kids. But then you go and proceed to do your press conference, and the entire classroom is standing behind you. How does that make sense? Oh, I know what makes sense. Is because you have that family and a whole lot of more other families, all this and that. We all know there's more. Thank you, COVID, for starting to lift the veil on all of the corruption that's actually going on behind the scenes. But then come to find out they're part of the Yale elites from Texas, and they're part of the oil industry. Like, really? Really? And then fast forward to when you had Biden and the whole Hunter Biden scandal thing. Come to find out he's on the board for Burisma in Ukraine. Tucker Carlson did an interview with Putin, was a couple of years ago now, last year, and Tucker asked Putin, he was like, well, who blew up y'all's pipeline? Well, y'all did. Biden also passed it to where we couldn't drill. I can't remember if it was everywhere that you couldn't drill or if it was just you couldn't drill in that main one. You couldn't drill for nothing. He stopped drilling. But yet his son, and then you have Ukraine that borders Russia. So his son is on the board for the oil company, and we have a war going on that should have been ended, should have never even been a thing, because Ukraine, it's like trying to have Mobile, Alabama fight the rest of the state. Like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And so this thing should have never been going on as long as it has, but yet you have billions and trillions of dollars of people who you would have never thought supported all of this, but yet they support the war in Ukraine. But it's also the same people who supported the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's also the same people who supported the war in Kuwait and Desert Storm. Like, it's been going on. So if you're not seeing the bigger picture, like, who's to say, I want to see a topographical map or whatever kind of map you can see. I want it to be proven that there wasn't like a pipeline or a way that when them blowing up the pipeline in Russia, that cut off that oil over there, whatever. But if you just hop right over, same landmass, same country basically, but you hop the border, and all of a sudden if you start drilling and you find you have scientists and all these people, geologists starting to study the land, survey the land, do all they're supposed to do, and they find out you can tap into that same pipeline, but it will come out of a smaller country, and there's private donors on top of it who are all on the board, who are all investing in Burisma. You think that they didn't know that, oh, we're about to hit the mother freaking load, and yet we couldn't drill in the U.S., couldn't do all this, couldn't do that, blew up the pipeline, whoever did it, blew up the pipeline in Russia, which borders Ukraine. Ukraine was, the whole reason the war is going on is over the Burisma thing and finding out Hunter Biden was like chairman, board, whatever he was. He was on that. So how are we to say all of these people were about to be making a buttload of private cash, of unaccounted for cash? Why are we trying to push this war so much? You have political figures on both sides of the aisle supporting this. Why? Because there's money in it. There's money in it somewhere, and we all know that. And it should be done and over with. Zelensky has no right, has no place to even think he has a hand to even ask a question or ask for a favor. He doesn't. And yet we just keep going on about our business like, oh, yeah, here we go again. We don't want to, I won't stand with Israel. I won't do this and that, blah, blah, blah. But yet we're just letting these things just keep happening. And I feel like the more you look at the bigger picture, the more you see it. And I'm not saying facts. These are all opinions based on different sources and different things you read. So obviously, don't come after me if I am actually hitting the nail on the head. Who knows? Maybe, who knows? But there's a whole lot of twists and turns from people on both sides of the aisle who are starting to not look so morally sound, if that makes sense. They're not looking like they've got such good character. And I don't like it. And that's honestly one of the reasons I wanted to start making these videos, is because I feel like there's honestly nobody really out there that's calling it for what it is. They call it for what it is to a certain point, but let's really call it for what it is. We're not gonna only go so far, but we've got to start being open and honest and transparent and calling it for what it is. So if they're not going to call it, we'll call it. Why not? Trump calls it. Maybe we should all start having a little more Trumpitude and we'd be doing better than what we are. But even at the end of the day, regardless of all of that, good, bad, all these things, we have got to start looking. We are in a physical world, but we have got to start looking at everything in a spiritual sense. Just like the other day when I said it, we are a physical being, but we are living in an unseen spiritual battle every single minute of every single day of our life, as long as we may be here. Until Jesus returns or he calls us home, we got to fight that battle. And I don't know, it's going to suck. It sucks sometimes, and sometimes it's great. But just know you've got at least one person you can count on. Well, you got two, because even if we don't know each other, you can count on me. I'll do whatever I can to help you out. And that's my heart. But at the end of the day, I know it's confusing. I know this world is a dark, twisted place. But there is hope, there is light, and that light comes from none other than Jesus Christ. And you can walk in that light every single day for the rest of your life. You can walk in that light and not have to be confused, or not have to be swindled, or not have to think that you don't have a choice in the matter. You do. And though Satan may be biting at your heel, God is there to come and just squish him down to a freaking nothing. And so just seek him, love him with everything you've got. Let him come in and consume so much of you that let him change your mind, your heart, and just let him change you. Because I promise you, the other route, and most of us are going the other route. 99% of us are going the other direction. It may seem a lot harder, and it may seem like it's taking a lot longer, but I promise you it's way worth it. It's way more worth it. And he's going to guide you. He's going to direct you. But you've got to give yourself up completely. It's not about you anymore. You're not the main character energy. That's the dumbest phrase. That's the most selfish, self-centered phrase ever. So you're not the main character at all. You're like an unpaid extra. And so get that in your head. Humble yourself and seek after him. Humble yourself, seek after him, and invite him personally into your life. And I promise you, you will start to see the change happen. I promise. But I hope I didn't bore y'all too much today. I really didn't have too big a plan, because I feel like everybody is talking about the same thing, but I kind of want to give it a little different, more of a spiritual aspect. But so I hope I didn't bore y'all too much. But my prayer for this channel is to spread the gospel, spread the good news. That's what we're here to do. That's what we have to do. That's what we're called to do. But if you could, again, turn on the notifications, like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, and we'll be getting into it. I don't know if I'll do anything over the weekend, but we'll be back at it on Monday. But love you guys, and hope you have a great weekend. Go to the racetrack, watch some races, and just have a good old time. Love you. Bye.